See you all here this morning.
Good morning, students, staff, and special guests. Welcome to our Veterans Day program. Today we gather to honor all the men and women who have served in the United States Armed Forces. Veterans Day is a special day to remember and thank those who have answered the call to duty. They have made the ultimate sacrifice to protect our freedom and our way of life. We owe our veterans a debt of gratitude that can never be fully repaid. But on this day, we can take the time to reflect on their service and to express our sincere appreciation. To our veterans, we say thank you. Thank you for your courage, your sacrifice, and your commitment to our country. Briar will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise and join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, please remain standing for a moment of silence for those who could not make it here today. Thank you. You may now be seated. And now, welcome Juliana Kloster-Kemper, who will read her essay, The Six Branches of Military and Their Importance.
Have you ever wondered how America is peaceful and civilized? Well, it is this way because of the U.S. military. The military does so much for us, such as protecting the nation's homeland, maintaining global stability, etc. This is all possible because of the six branches, which is what we'll be talking about today. The first branch I'll be mentioning is the Army. The Army is the oldest branch of the U.S. military. When nations establish sovereignty, ground protection is most essential. The Army does just that. Without forces to protect our views, beliefs, and territory, we wouldn't be a country at all. With firm beliefs and the willpower to protect them, there will naturally be conflict and thus war. Winning these wars are important so that we can keep nations' territory safe and secure. The United States Army also deals with threats made from abroad. War is not the only worry, so threats are also something the Army takes care of. The next branch is the Marine Corps. Some of the importance of the Marine Corps is that they specialize in expeditionary missions, and along with that, they provide ground combat. Ground combat is quite important to defend wars. The Marine Corps is the transition between land and sea. On the waterfront, we have the Navy branch. The Navy helps to maintain global security. Maintaining global security is well needed for preventing conflict and keeping peace. Some facts about the Navy is that it is the second largest air force in the world. The Navy provides protection and assistance way beyond landfall. For protection closer to home, we have the United States Coast Guard. They protect the homeland and serve a vital role close to us by allowing the other branches to be called out elsewhere. While close to home, the United States Coast Guard assists with search and rescue, maritime security, and environmental preservation. With land and air covered, the necessity for air protection is naturally next in line. This is where the United States Air Force comes into play. Any effective tactic requires force from every facet on this earth. The Air Force provides means of attack from several miles above a target, often without the enemy even knowing they are there. In quest for utmost protection, nations also must consider what is beyond our everyday reality. Enter the United States Space Force. This branch of military is most recently developed. Created just 6 years ago, the Space Force is there to ensure our best interests beyond the atmosphere. So much can be accomplished from greater distances. The United States Space Force helps to make space travel, maintenance, and exploration safe for Americans. As civilization advances, so do aspects of national security, with landscapes and terrains covered with their own respective branch. The United States helps to keep its people, its allies, and interests protected for future generations. Thank you for your time and have a great day.
Thank you, Juliana, for your wonderful essay. Please welcome the GJHS Choir, who will be singing the National Anthem and America the Beautiful. I am an American. I love my nation and my God, and I owe a debt to our veterans who worked so hard and sacrificed so much to give us the rights and freedoms that mean so much to me. I am proud to live in a land where anything is possible if I follow my dreams and work hard to come true.
Thank you. Ava Jo Lee Hackman will now read her essay, What is a Veteran?
Have you ever wondered how America is peaceful and civilized? Well, this is way because of the U.S. military. The military does so much for us as protecting the nation's homeland, maintaining global stability, etc. This is all possible because of the 6 branches, which is what I'll be talking about today. The first branch I will be mentioning is the Army. The Army is the oldest branch of the U.S. military, and when the nation's established, sovereignty, ground protection is most essential. The Army does just that. Without forces to protect our views, beliefs, and territory, we couldn't be a country at all. With firm beliefs and the willpower to protect them, there will naturally be conflict and thus war. This is all I say. Do you know a veteran? If you do, you probably know what a veteran is. But if you don't, I will just lots of information on veterans. Not everyone knows a veteran. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, it is a person with long experience in military service or warfare. There are 6 different categories in the U.S. military, and they all help us in different ways. The U.S. military is divided into 6 different groups. They are the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard. In order to keep the USA safe, all of the categories need to work together. The first reason is that the military and veteran soldiers are very important to us because if we get an invasion, we would be in big trouble. The military keeps our borders safe so we don't have any invasions. The other countries, if they are invading the U.S. If we don't have a military, then we would always be in danger. And the invaders would come and try to take our land. If different countries took our land, then we'd most likely be enslaved or killed. The second reason is that veterans are important because they experience many physical and mental problems from when we are just trying to help our country. They left their home, they knew that there was a chance that they weren't going to come back to their family. Many veterans were hurt, lost different limbs, and even lost their lives serving for us. Veterans are normally left with trauma from serving. There have been many cases of veteran suicide because they can't forget all the things they had to see during wars and battles. For these reasons, veterans should always have our respect. When someone wants to be in the military, they have to go through intense training to get there. The training is very intense and involves physical and mental conditioning, essential skills, and discipline. It takes just a while to get through the training part. Veterans have to serve at least 20 years before they can retire. Most people want to thank veterans but don't exactly know what just to do. Some ways that you can show veterans appreciation is by supporting veteran-owned businesses, listening to their stories, volunteering for veteran organizations, or just doing practical jobs for them. Participating in community events like parades, or just simply saying thank you to them when you see them in public. So don't be shy when you see a veteran in public. It means a lot to them, even if you are just saying thank you. Overall, the military, veterans, and soldiers are very important to us in many ways. If you encounter a veteran in public, don't be shy, just go talk to them. Always remember that soldiers are fighting for you every single day. So what are you going to do when you see veterans in public?
Thank you, Ava. Today we have a very special guest, my grandfather, Ted Tatnall, who is a United States Vietnam veteran. Veterans show courage, sacrifice, and service. They put others before themselves and help protect the freedoms we have today. It is special for me to have my grandpa here to share with you, as he has always taught me the importance of commitment, discipline, and serving others. We are grateful to have him here today to share what being a veteran means and how we can continue to show appreciation to those who served. Please welcome me in joining us, Ted Tatnall.
Wow, thank you very much for that very kind introduction. I'm impressed with all the speakers so far today. I don't know, it's a hard act to follow. They talked a lot about the history of the military and how veterans have affected our safety and security and sleep well at night. But I'll do the best I can to stay entertained and tell you a little bit of something about this. So, well, good morning. Okay, that's where you all say good morning back to me. Let's try it again. Good morning, Greensburg Junior High. Good. That's more like it. Thank you. So, well, first of all, it's very heartwarming to be asked to come and speak with you all today. I truly appreciate it. To speak with you and help celebrate I'm overwhelmed by everything that's happened so far. So, gather my courage here and say, help celebrate Veterans Day and honor the commitment, service, and sacrifice of all who have served in the U.S. military. Now, I could talk about my time in the military for a couple of hours, but I've only got, 15 minutes, which is really tough for me to talk only 15 minutes, but I'll do the best I can. To give you a taste of my experience in the military and offer some unique opportunities which came along the way. Opportunities are very important in life, in your lives as well as mine. I'll point out a few as I speak. Tell you about where I went, that's my duty stations, and a few peculiar, interesting, and strange experiences. Although time in the military is most often serious and getting down to business, there's got to be some fun along the way, right? So let's start at the beginning. First, it was not my idea. I, probably like many of you, I had no idea what I was doing with my life. I had no particular plans to go to college, to go to trade school, a career of any kind, really. It was pretty much just floating along in life and a job when I got a very important letter from Washington, D.C. that said, greetings, started out real well, and then said, you are hereby ordered for induction into the Armed Forces of the United States. Went on to tell me what day, what time, and where I was to report. I had been drafted. Now, way back when, in the Vietnam era, the military draft was a government program that aimed to boost the number of soldiers to support a war effort. So, since I wasn't a farmer, or a student, or disabled, I had just a few choices. I could escape to Canada, which some did. I could go to jail, or I could accept the opportunity presented to me. Well, I didn't really want to move to Canada. I definitely did not want to go to jail. So I decided to accept the opportunity presented, and I joined the Army. That opportunity was opportunity number one for those keeping score. I took one step forward at the induction center, and a short train trip later, I was wearing Army clothes at basic training down in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So basic training presented opportunity number two. It's actually a two-parter. Thanks to the draft, I was committed to a 2-year tour of duty, but I was told if I signed up for a 3rd year, I could choose a school, which I did. More on that in a bit. So in basic training, I got a really short haircut and was learning a lot of soldier stuff, how to shower quickly, dress quickly, eat quickly, and drink really strong coffee. I learned some hand-to-hand combat, how to shoot a rifle, how to shoot a pistol, how to throw a hand grenade, and how to make a bunk with the cover so tight you could bounce a quarter off of it. Really quite an accomplishment. Another part of the training was the confidence course, where, among other things, I ran downhill through a maze, jumping over logs. Another part of that was running with a rifle with a bayonet fixed to the front of it, stabbing little things along the way, and crawled 40 feet under barbed wire with bullets flying overhead. Wanted to give us a serious taste of what goes on in combat, and such. On it went. And then the confidence course, the confidence climb, basically climbing a ladder. Well, this ladder was 6 feet wide, 36 feet tall, made out of landscape logs, spaced about 3 feet apart. It really seemed like they got farther apart the higher up one went. A little more than a little scary to this little guy here, who just graduated high school the year before. But I did it. And suddenly found myself on the top rung, 36 feet in the air. And this was very significant because being a pretty shy guy at the time, believe it or not, with very little self-confidence, I thought maybe for the very first time, something like, I can actually do things I didn't think I could. Maybe some of you have that thought occasionally as well. So, I graduated basic training. Hooray. Next stop, Signal School, where all the communications training for the Army took place, in Fort Gordon, Georgia. And the other half of opportunity number two, I had chosen an electronics school, which taught me to repair teletype systems. Has anyone here ever heard of a teletype? I didn't think so. There's one. I'm impressed. If you want to see a teletype, you probably have to go to a museum at this point. They're not in use much anymore. Got a keyboard and a monitor and a printer and a tape punch machine, and maybe hooked to a telephone wire to transmit some information, kind of like a computer, which was just starting to be introduced at that time. So just missed it by that much. But through that school, I became a 31J20. Army school number 4 teletype repair. And I could now fix mechanical, electrical, and electronic equipment, which featured, of course, very useful in my military time, but also later in my civilian life. So opportunity number 3 came after school when I was sent to South Vietnam. Has anyone ever heard of Vietnam? Whole bunch of people. That's very gratifying. You'll actually learn a whole lot more in high school, I'm told. Vietnam was a country on the other side of the planet where at the time the U.S. military was helping the people of South Vietnam fight a war to stay free from being taken over by Soviet, Russians, Chinese, and by North Vietnamese communists. Well, my first month was spent on a base at the coast of the South China Sea in Quy Nhon. The unit apparently had enough teletype repairmen, so didn't get to do my job. I was a clerk in the maintenance crib, distributing spare parts and repair parts to people who were fixing communications equipment. As I said, the base was on the South China Sea and had a beach, which I could go to in my time off, which is pretty nice, a little weird in the war, but still. The beach was much like you see in Miami or Clearwater or Atlantic City, whatever on the coast. It had sand, it had water, waves, pretty much like, well, except for the helicopter gunships hovering over battleships far off in the bay. Had a lot of things to do. Had small sailboats one could rent and float around inside the bay there. Had a tennis court, had food concession stand, and other amenities, including a miniature golf course where one day I saw a soldier getting ready to putt with flip-flops and swimsuit and sunglasses. Next to him was another soldier wearing a steel helmet, a flak jacket, and an M79 grenade launcher slung on his back. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think about war, putt-putt doesn't really fit in the picture, you know? It's pretty weird. Okay, but as they didn't need any more teletype repairmen in that outfit, I was transferred west into the mountains and landed in Pleiku, where, as I was checking in, the first sergeant greeted me to the 63rd Signal Battalion and asked if I'd like to be a cook. I thought about it half a second and said, First Sergeant, the U.S. Army has spent a lot of time and money and training expertise to make me a teletype repairman. I'd really like to do that job. He smiled and thought a second and said, okay, how'd you like to be a cook? Okay, I realized that was not really a question. So, I was a cook, but that turned out actually to be opportunity number 4. I was a cook where I actually learned quite a bit about cooking. Learned about, say, salad. If you're making a salad out of lettuce, don't cut it up with scissors or a knife. You actually just tear it apart and throw it in the bowl, and that makes it a much better salad. Also, mold. Consider mold. If you have bread with mold on it, throw it out. If you have cheese with mold on it, just cut the mold off and go ahead and eat the cheese. As far as I know, no one's ever gotten sick or died from cheese like that. Actually, sometimes you go and buy cheese on purpose if it has mold. So, now you know something about it maybe you didn't know maybe. Well, that went on for 3 weeks till I had a plan. One afternoon I realized the pork chops I was grilling were going to the command table where the sergeant, the first sergeant, sergeant major, the captain, the colonel, and any other officers in the area was going to eat lunch. I grabbed every seasoning, every spice I could find, didn't matter what it was. If it was garlic, hot pepper, sage, cinnamon, nutmeg, didn't matter if I could get my hands on it. It went on the pork chops and created the worst tasting pork chops in history. Apparently my plan worked because shortly after that, I was out of there. Out of the kitchen into the electronic shop where I finally got to do the job that I wanted to do in the first place. Yay me! But apparently somebody realized, sir, number one, we didn't need any more teletype repairmen in that area, in that unit, and they definitely didn't need any really bad cooks. So out of there I went again to my third and final duty station in Vietnam, way up north in Phu Bai, just north of Da Nang, south of Hue, a lot closer to the enemy, and where the war got a lot more serious. Let's just suffice it to say that bullets, bombs, and rockets were a more common daily occurrence. It's too bad. War is too bad, but I mean, it's a beautiful country, Vietnam. They're beautiful people, and it's very, very different from Indiana for sure. But the architecture, the food, the people were wonderful, but it was very different in other ways. For instance, well, one night, my buddy Scotty and I, in the electronics shop there, were playing a board game like Monopoly. This is called Stratego. It's actually a war game, and the irony of playing a war game in the middle of a war did not escape us. But as we were playing, became aware of this constant, low, droning hum. And we looked up and said, you know, that's not supposed to be here. That's just wrong. So we grabbed our rifles and slowly started moving toward the dark end of the shop, and did not know what was going to be there when we got there. But we were ready, but out of the darkness came a beetle about as big as a tennis ball, floating through the air. I I looked at that thing and thought, that is so big, so heavy, there is no way on God's green earth that logically that thing should fly. And yet there it was. Okay, well, they grow things big in the tropics. Like spiders, did I just turn that off? I don't think so. You probably think you've seen a large spider somewhere, you know, they're this big, or even a tarantula this big. Try a camel spider that's legs spread that far. You can touch either side of a door. Now that's a big spider. And then there was another event where I was admiring at night. I was admiring a rather large cat. It was a very pretty cat, brown fur, kind of glistening in the moonlight, till I realized its long tail was naked, it was bare, didn't have any hair. Got a little closer, looked at his pointy little face and realized it's a rat. That big, with a tail. Okay, but biggest rat I've ever seen, and I hope I can always say that. Yeah, things grow big in the tropics. And slappers, yeah, back in here, okay. Here we are. So, after a year in Nam and 2 weeks at home on leave, I flew toward my opportunity number 5 at my last duty station in Schwäbisch Gmünd, Westen Deutschland, West Germany. And I was assigned to Headquarters Battery, they called them batteries rather than companies, little detail. Headquarters Battery, the 4th Battalion, 41st Artillery, Pershing Missile Unit. I thought missiles, they were like little, no, this was like about almost a 2-story building high missile with nuclear warheads, with atomic weapons in Germany. Fortunately, we did not have to use them before, during, and after my time in Germany. But it was still serious enough stuff. We had to stay alert and ready to move out in the field at a moment's notice and set everything up for missile test launches. And serious, as I say. There's, as I mentioned before, there's always some time for fun, isn't there? And there's this time that, no, I can't tell you that one. Well, then, my buddy and I, nope, can't tell you that. Your teachers, and insist, there's a lot of stories from Germany I've got that they don't really want me to tell you, so sorry. Besides that, I'm running out of time, so I would just say that it was a wonderful time in Germany. I bought a motorcycle while I was over there, toured around quite a bit, ate a lot of wonderful food, met wonderful people. Went to Oktoberfest in Munich, which is quite a party. Went to a rock concert with a few thousand others, and went down to Füssen to see Schloss Neuschwanstein, Neuschwanstein, in Bavaria, which was the castle that Disney used as a model for Cinderella's castle in the Disney parks. Just if you ever get to Germany, it's a must-see. So, that's pretty much the end of my military time, other than being in the reserves for 6 years after that. But was that worthwhile to me? Was it useful? I mean, I hadn't planned it, as I said. But I've just talked about a number of opportunities I chose. Let's consider some of the pieces of the puzzle. Number one, I accepted being drafted into the Army. I changed from a 2-year commitment to a 3-year commitment so I could go to electronics school. I went to Vietnam. I became a cook, if only a short time. And I went to Germany, all of which resulted in what? What difference did those opportunities make in my life? Well, if I hadn't conquered the confidence climb, that big ladder in basic training, I might not have developed the confidence I have today to speak in front of all of you. If I hadn't gone to Vietnam, I would not have developed an understanding of war, for better or worse. If I hadn't gone to Vietnam and Germany, I would not have developed an appreciation for other cultures, and I would not have learned to speak German. Jetzt kann ich noch ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen. Ausgezeichnet, I can still speak some German. And if I hadn't signed up in the Army for an electronics school, I would not have retired from Rolls-Royce Aerospace as an engineer about 7 years ago. So, was it worthwhile? But before talking about me a little bit more, I've got to talk about you, all of you. I just said earlier that being old, being a geezer and all that, I look at you and I see a whole lifetime in each face, and I see what you will be right now, what you'll be in high school, what you'll be beyond that, and it's all choices that you will make. I mean, I was in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at the time, so I know pretty much what 6th, 7th, and 8th grade feels like, and how your vision is about out to here. But as I ponder the decisions, the path of decisions that got me here, I wonder what decisions you will make to create your futures. There'll be a lot of times in your life when opportunities will come your way. You're in the middle of one right now, one of the most powerful opportunities. School, education, learning things. You have no idea what importance they'll prove to be in your future. Just as I had no idea what would happen after I said yes to the opportunity of the Army. So, you might ask yourself that same question, is it worth being here at school? I don't know. That's for you to answer for yourself. It's what you put in equals what you get out of an opportunity like school. Will you choose to make the most of it, or just float through? I hope you choose wisely. Well, my time's almost up. I'll answer my own question. Was it worth being in the Army? Of course. Yes, for me it was. If I hadn't accepted all those opportunities, I wouldn't be standing here today. So overall, I am honored to be able to speak with you today. Glad to have served in the Army, and proud to have served the United States of America. So, here's the word everyone's waiting for. Finally, okay, I've got a lot more stories from basic training, Army school, Vietnam, Germany, but enough about me. It's not really about me, it's about veterans. So ask your grandparents, ask your parents, ask your aunts, your uncles about their time serving in the military, becoming a veteran. They will appreciate it, and you might learn something. And that just might be the best way you can celebrate Veterans Day. Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Please give our guests one more round of applause. We should all be incredibly proud of our friends and family that have served. To talk to us about how we can further honor veterans in our lives, I would like to invite 8th grader Sophie Ramey to read her essay, What is the Significance of a Veteran and How Can We Honor Them?
The significance of a veteran is huge because they are people who protected our country and the freedoms we have every day, like being able to go to school or playing sports with our friends. They made major sacrifices, meaning they gave up normal things in life, sometimes risking their own lives, so we could be safe and live in a free country. Without them, America wouldn't be the same place. We might not all have the rights we take for granted. They show a lot of important character traits, like bravery, dedication, and integrity, which makes them awesome role models for us. Honoring them is a way to say thank you for everything we did and make sure we never forget their stories and the price of freedom. Even though we're just middle school students, there are tons of ways we can show gratitude and make sure veterans know we appreciate them. One way is to say a simple thank you. Whenever we see someone in uniform or wearing a veteran's hat, a simple thank you goes a very long way. You can also be creative and make handmade thank you cards or posters using red, white, and blue decorations to give to local veterans or hang up around our school. Writing letters is a great way to practice our writing skills while also helping the veterans stay brighter. And organizations like Operation Gratitude can help us send them to service members who might be far away. For a more hands-on approach, we could team up with our friends or a school club to do a community service project. We could collect things like what veterans need, like toiletries or protein snacks from a local veterans shelter or a VA hospital. Another cool idea is to interview a veteran in our family or community and record their story. This makes history come alive and helps us understand their experiences beyond just a textbook.
We could even create a wall of honor at school with pictures and stories of veterans our classmates know so everyone can see the heroes in our community. Veterans go through drastic measures just to make sure we have safety. We can show a little respect toward them, as many veterans have a hard time coming back from serving. Many veterans struggle with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, anxiety, and depression due to traumatic experiences they witnessed in combat. Many veterans also return with physical wounds that require medical treatment and rehab. The combination of mental and physical injuries, societal hostility, and a lack of support systems made it difficult for veterans to transition back to civilization life. The main point is honoring veterans is showing little respect, empathy, and making sure their sacrifices are never forgotten. Whether it's a simple thank you, writing a card, or organizing a bigger service project, every little bit helps. By learning about their stories and the challenges they faced, we learn important values like responsibility and commitment, which helps us grow into better people and thoughtful citizens. We can keep their legacy alive by appreciating the freedom we have and trying to make our community a better place, just like they did for our whole country.
As we conclude our Veterans Day program today, I would like to leave you with a few thoughts. First, I would want to reiterate our sincere gratitude to all our veterans. Mr. Tatnell, thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your commitment to our country. And thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be with us today. Second, I want to encourage everyone to continue to honor our veterans throughout the year. There are many ways to do this, such as volunteering at veterans organizations, donating to a veterans charity, or simply saying thank you to a veteran you know. Finally, I want to remind everyone that freedom is not free. It is paid for by the sacrifices of our veterans. Let us never forget their service, and let us always strive to live up to the ideals they have fought for. Thank you.
Thank you, students, for your attention today. Can you join me one more time in giving a round of applause for our speakers today who joined us?